Hello and welcome to World Talks, where every word matters. With me, Anna Kalczynska. Good morning. No ballot has been cast yesterday in Romania, just 2 days before Romanians were to vote in a runoff presidential election. The country's constitutional court annulled the results of the first round. The decision made during an emergency session on Friday means that the entire election process will have to be repeated. Joining me now to discuss the future scenarios is Eusebiu Slavitescu, former Romanian diplomat. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Right, so how would you describe the current state of democracy in your country after the Constitutional Court's decision about annulment?
We are still a young democracy. We are still transitioning towards fully functional democracy. And let me tell you, this is not exactly a festival of joy, what's happening right now in Romania. At no point cancelling an election can be a good sign, especially casting a vote. It's the most important act, right, in democracy. So things are really heated up right now in Romania, with both sides saying something. I'd rather stick to the facts on this. I fully endorse the Constitutional Court's decision, to be honest. Because these elections, they weren't fair. Mm-hmm. The more time goes, we get more and more information, but what we know so far. A week before the first presidential tour, we have seen a massive boots machine, around 600,000, pushing for Călin Georgescu. Which doesn't place both candidates or all the candidates on the same position, on the same startup. We now know that around 50 million euros have been heavily invested in his TikTok campaign. He has run his campaign exclusively on TikTok. We know now that even in some of the days before the elections, even some 3 million euros a day were pumped into TikTok. So this clearly haven't been fair, to be honest, which is why I fully support this decision, although it's very dangerous.
It's not fair, you're right, but is it against the law? That's the whole problem, right? Because it's not only Călin Georgescu who is obviously disappointed. Let me quote Elena Lasconi, Romanian presidential candidate, who was supposed to be his counter-candidate in the runoff, who said we should have respected the will of the Romanian people. Whether we like it or not, from a legal and legitimate point of view, 9 million Romanian citizens expressed their preference for a certain candidate by voting, and we cannot ignore their will. So has this move impacted, how has this move impacted and will impact the political landscape in Romania?
Oh, it's huge. First, let me come to your first comment. It is illegal. So every money that is spent during the political campaign must be declared to the electoral authority. He declared zero. So this is illegal, and probably he's going to answer for this. Also, on TikTok, a lot of the influencers have thrown money away supporting him, although when you have a political campaign or ad or anything, the law requires for you to register it. None of it was registered, not to mention the millions of euros that were thrown at him. What's next in Romania? We're going to have probably in March, start over with the whole process, with raising the signatures, the normal way, and we're probably going to have quite different numbers of candidates.
All right, so you have to have this interim process, right?
Absolutely.
Until March. But the annulment was largely attributed to allegedly Russian interference. Have you got specific proofs for that? Any evidence has been presented to claim?
So a couple of days ago, the highest security council in Romania has declassified their last meeting, where the security services provided a briefing note, where we have identified multiple facts. First, that we have a state behind this. Second, that the same campaign Russia has led before the Russian illegal and brutal invasion on peaceful and sovereign Ukraine, the same elements were used right now. We don't have yet all the documents. That was a briefing. We are now waiting for the security service to declassify the report behind the brief. So we will know more.
All right. And how about this annulment is expected to affect public trust in the whole electoral process? After all, as Lasconi said, people voted based on probably prejudiced assumptions and, a process that has been somehow biased, but they voted. They expressed their opinion. How about now?
They did, but they had no idea who they're voting for. I have friends who voted for him from my village, and I tell them, do you know that he wants to take us out of the European Union? Mm-hmm. Some of them are working within the European Union freely, and we love it. Do you know that he wants to take us out of the strongest military alliance in the history of the world?
That is
they
true,
had no idea about this.
Georgescu is expressing this quite vocally.
Very transparent, and we should listen to him. That's the thing. We sort of banalize all of these words, but this is going to do it. He says he's going to cut every military aid to Ukraine. He's going to do it. Mm-hmm. He even goes so far, he wants to stop, because Romania facilitates the transfer of cereals from Odessa through our ports. Even that he wants to stop it. So I had listened to him very careful. As for Elena Lasconi, I don't think she responded the right way, to be honest. So first, it's the highest constitutional court who decided. I don't think any politician should be commenting on those decisions. That's why we have a fair justice system.
Of course, she's very interested because
and she's probably not going to go in the runoff.
Good. All right. How about the Constitutional Court itself? First, they said they would never comment on the first round, and all of a sudden they totally changed the decision. They made the decision clear that the annulment was taken unanimously. So how about that? What made them change the opinion?
I think some of the briefings from the security service made them change. But to be very honest with you, nobody saw it really coming. I mean, we knew Russian meddling happening in the region. We knew it happened in Georgia heavily, and now we see what happens, because there they won. We saw happening in Moldova. Luckily, it didn't work. Even more so for Romania, given the stakes, NATO membership, few thousand NATO soldiers. So this is pretty complicated. As for our institution, nobody really saw it coming. We had multiple reports. Even the next day, the security services commented that nothing out of extraordinary. Mm-hmm. So something happened in these days. They got their hands on something. They saw something. Right now, for example, our judiciary, our police are investigating, are talking to a lot of people. So we will know more in the coming weeks, in the coming days. But honestly, nobody was really ready. And if I were, for example, Poland, with an election coming up next, I would be very, very careful when that's happening in Romania, because you are next, and not only.
The strong words. All right, thank you. But what are the potential implications now of your crisis in Romania for the whole EU and NATO allies as well, with regards to the Russian aggression?
Well, first, let me tell you that our allies, our partners have supported our decision. The State Department released a press statement by supporting, which is true. I mean, Romania is the first country to ever take this serious. It took 9 constitutional judges to stand up to Russian meddling. It is the first time, but there is no precedent. Mm-hmm. It's why nobody really knew how to react to it. And now we're going for another. It's dangerous. The public trust, it was already very low. This is not helping it, to be honest. This is sort of a catastrophic for us. But I still fully endorse the decision. I mean, if we have fair and free elections, and everybody will still choose this guy, which I really don't like, then okay. Right? He has a vision for Romania. He has presented his vision for Romania, which I think is incredibly wrong. It will take us back to the Soviet Union. But okay, but free. So far, it wasn't the case.
Well, the Constitutional Court must face also a criticism coming from people who think that the whole decision was also politicized.
It's true. So you cannot really blame them. Mm-hmm. I mean, they do have a legitimacy by asking that. Not to mention that the judges are named somehow politically, right? The president names 3 judges, the Senate names 3 judges. So there are a lot of questions raised there, and for good reasons.
Let's talk about TikTok and other platforms, like this one. What specific actions have been taken to hold those platforms accountable in Romania for the whole interference?
None of it, as we have seen so far. Now we know that
Should there be a new law, for instance, or do you see a need of such a law on maybe European level?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, after the Digital Act was adopted in the European Parliament, we sort of moved in the right direction, but as we have seen in Romania, and not only everywhere, it's not enough. I think Romania is heading towards completely blocking TikTok, this platform. It's a Chinese platform, and whenever they need and they want, they can press some algorithms to tell their side of the story, which it's not always our side of the story.
All right, let me quote this. President Donald Trump, you have all my respect for the great things you have done and will continue to do to put America first and for your continuous fight for the American people. You are truly a leader of the people just like me. How would you comment Elena Lasconi's tweet in a letter to Donald Trump? What is the reaction of the citizens as well?
Stupid. Let me just put it that way. First, you don't send a letter on Twitter, especially to President-elect Donald Trump. You have diplomatic ways. Second, the language there, it's everything but diplomatic. Everything, even the English, I mean, it's pretty low. It was a wrong move. It was a wrong move. She's heavily criticized Romania, and I don't even think she's going to be in the next elections. She's done a lot of mistakes. This is. Whoever has worked a little bit in the public administration, diplomacy, this goes beyond madness.
All right, so what's next for Romania now? We are waiting for March for the elections to come.
Yes.
You say there will be many other candidates coming.
We are going to have surprises because after the first round, a lot of the head of the political parties, because it's also, okay, Russian meddling, obviously, but it's not just that, right? It's a cocktail of a lot of toxic stuff. And after the presidential, the first round, a lot of the heads of the political parties have resigned because of the results. So now I'm not sure how they're going to be running again because they resign. So I think we're going to have surprises and we're going to see new faces in the new elections.
Thank you very much, Eusebiu Slavitescu, for being with us today. Thank you for answering our many questions on Romania and clearing a little bit the situations. And that concludes this edition of World Talks. Coming on next are World News Online. Please stay with us.